Stands are shit. So today I'm going to start measuring out where I'm actually going to put my panels exactly for the sound absorbers. Some of you might ask in the comments, like, what were my previous measurements of the room and what frequencies need to be hammered out. And honestly, I didn't do any of that. As you can hear, this room has a ton of reverb. It needs a lot of work, and I can guarantee you that there's gonna be issues in the low end. For now, I'm just gonna figure out where I'm hanging everything. So the plan is, every second stud along the wall, I'm gonna hang a diffuser. So I'm gonna start with my stud finder and just kind of mark out where the studs are and where I wanna hang my absorbers. The reason why I wanna mark out the studs is because I'm gonna be actually anchoring my panels right to the stud. Just it gives it a nice sturdy connection. It's getting cold. Anyways, now that we marked out where the absorbers are going downstairs, I have to cut out 24 blocks. I'm gonna cut up those 2x4s into 24 pieces, about 4 inches long each, and those are gonna be the anchors for my absorbers. The reason why I'm doing it this way is, well, there's 2 reasons. One, by drilling those into the studs and connecting the frames to those, it's gonna make it really secure, so they're not gonna fall. And the other reason is it's actually gonna prevent me from pushing the insulation when I put it in. It's gonna prevent me from pushing it all the way to the wall. It's gonna create an air gap, which is gonna help with absorbing the sound. The way I'm building these is I'm not gonna build the total absorber out here, like the frame, insulation, and then go hang it. I'm gonna start off by adding the anchors and then building the frame, adding them to the anchors, and then I'm gonna insulate everything. And then the final step is building the front mesh part, the front grill part of the absorbers, if you will. The reason why I'm doing that is just to make it easier on myself. I don't want to be lugging around big diffusers and trying to struggle with it. I'm just going to make it easy and just build it in phases. An important thing to note is I'm going to pre-drill everything out here, and then when I go to hang everything, it's just going to line up and it's going to be easy and I'm not going to worry about it. So anyways, with that said, I'm going to get to work. So I started hanging these and everything's going pretty good so far. My recommendation is when you do this, pre-drill into the stud as well. I'm using really cheap 2x4s, so the wood is really soft. And so yeah, just having that extra drill hole makes it easier. Assembling the frames is really easy. You need 2 of the short, 2 of the long that I cut, the 16 and the 46-inch boards. Yeah, basically all I did was I squared them, lined them up as best as I could, drilled a couple pilot holes, and then I drilled screws through those pilot holes. So for these, to secure them, what I'm doing is I'm just putting 2 screws through the top into the anchor that I previously put into the studs. When I cut the anchors and did the pilot holes, I did 2 pilot holes for hanging the top. They're about 2 inches apart. Drill the 2 pilot holes on the top, put some screws in so they're ready to go. So my plan for the rest of the evening is to get the rest of these hung, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna pack these with insulation. So this morning I went around and I anchored all the frames to the wall, so that's done. I decided to add a block at the bottom of the frames as well to help with creating that air gap. So all I did was I took some white glue and I just kind of glued it to the bottom. I didn't screw anything else into the wall. Everything seems pretty secure, so yeah, I am going to now put the installation in, and that shouldn't take me long at all. The sheets that I have are about 2 inches thick, so I think 1 sheet per frame should be fine. I just finished putting in the last of the insulation, and it is a huge difference already. I can hear there's still a reflection, but nothing compared to what it was. And that's just from these wall absorbers. So that is, I'm not wearing gloves, and I would recommend, even though I'm using rock wool, it still is kind of irritating. So next time I'm gonna wear gloves, but just a little for your information. Anyways, yeah. So the next step is I'm gonna measure out the corners and start figuring out my corner sound absorbers. And basically, I'm building them the same way. They're gonna be a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker. I'm not gonna pack all the way through the corner. I'm gonna have an air gap behind the absorber. So yeah, it shouldn't take too long. So I'm gonna start working on that, and we're getting there. What to talk about? The first thing I noticed now that I finished putting up the diffusers is there's a huge reduction in reflection. Night and day. It's crazy how much these are working. There's still a reflection, it's a big space, but for the most part, it's manageable. Like, I could work in here if I had to. I'm still gonna build a diffuser in the back. I think that's gonna help, especially when you're in that side of the room, and definitely gonna get some treatment on the ceiling. I am getting, like, it's not a harsh reflection, but I am getting it almost like a flutter. I think by the time I hang some absorption panels on the ceiling, I think it'll help quite a bit too. And this is still an empty space. Once you get the furniture in here and the rest of the gear and the setup, I think it's gonna really tame this room quite a bit. So I'm on the right track. Anyways, if this is a project that you wanna do, I totally recommend it, and I'm gonna link some resources below, like some other websites I recommend you checking out. There's a lot of information about panels on there, and for the most part, I think they will all work. These are the channels that I used as reference, so I'll put the links below. I'm also gonna put a link to my website that will have the plans on how I roughly designed these. They're not perfect, there was some improvising happening, but for the most part, you'll see how I built them, and I hope that helps you out. So anyways, thank you very much. Like and subscribe, or don't, whatever you wanna do. You're all amazing. Anyways, take care.